Normal zombies are the most common entity you'll see. They spawn at abandoned buildings and at night. Usually they're easy to beat. You can just use a shovel while running backwards to take care of them, or use a shotgun to quickly take down groups of them. They have green skin, the drool face, and casual zombie clothes. I mean, what else can I say? They're a wild western zombie. These guys are the weakest zombies overall, having 100 health, dealing 15 damage, and a walk speed of 16. Their only purpose in the early game is to be used as fuel when you run out of coal. Keep in mind they can and will jump on your train. The only threat these guys pose is when you get farther in the game and the knights start spawning in like 100 of them. But as long as you aren't trapped in a house, you'll be fine. Overall ranking, 8 out of 10. They're free fuel and are easy to deal with. Runner zombies are the second most common entity you'll see. They're just normal zombies, but 60% faster. These guys have the same spawning conditions as normal zombies, and they can be very annoying. They have the same health, do the same damage, but have 25 walk speed. The walking backwards technique doesn't really work here since they're much faster than you and can quickly overwhelm you if you aren't prepared. They have slightly different clothes from normal zombies, and they have the zombie face. They may seem fast, but don't worry, riding on a horse can easily outrun them, and every other entity in the game. If you aren't paying attention, there's a very likely chance one or two of them will just take you from behind, pause, and could end your run very early. 4 out of 10 overall ranking. I hate these annoying little banker zombies are only found near banks and towns. Their design is very distinct from the other zombies. They have a black top hat, a tuxedo, and a white beard. Don't let their appearance fool you. They have the exact same stats as normal zombies. They drop a 5-digit code when killed that can open a bank, which gives you a lot of gold and silver bars. If you're lucky, there can be multiple banks in one town. So if you try the code for the first bank and it doesn't work, try the other. Just one small, insanely annoying problem. Bugs. There have been times where you would kill a banker and they'll just be flying into the sky along with the code, or the code they would drop would just fall through the floor, or they could spawn inside the bank vault. If any of these happen to you, just use a torch and dynamite to blow the bank vault open. Their beards used to be able to deflect bullets, allegedly. Overall ranking, 6 out of 10. The bugs make them and their code insanely annoying, but the bank does give gold and silver bars. Ironclad Zombie. Wait, these guys are still in the game? Ironclad Zombies have the same spawn conditions as normal zombies, except they only have a 5% chance to spawn in, which means there is a very high chance you could play through an entire round of dead rails without seeing any of them. They have the same clothes as normal zombies and an almost full set of armor. They have mostly the same stats as normal zombies, except they're slower, only having 14 walk speed. The only thing that sets them apart from other zombies is their armor. Their armor gives them a slight resistance to ranged weapons, and shooting at their head is basically useless. The only problem is that melee weapons do slightly less damage, but not enough to be unreliable. And shooting at their legs and arms does more damage as they don't have any armor on them. So basically, this zombie not only has a mere 5% chance to spawn anywhere normal zombies are, but the armor is basically useless, and they're one of the slowest entities in the game. Not even worth ranking, especially when there's a literal castle in the game and they aren't there. Dynamite Zombies are also zombies you might not see often. They have the same spawn conditions as Ironclad Zombies, meaning you likely won't see one for a while unless you go to the Sterling mines. They have a mining helmet, a miner's uniform, and carry dynamite. Whenever they get close to a player, the dynamite will ignite and explode. They have 100 health, 25 walk speed, which decreases to 16 once the dynamite is lit, and based on how close you are to the explosion, they can do between 1 and 300 damage. Oh, and killing them doesn't automatically negate the dynamite. It'll still explode. Yeah, these guys are kind of a big deal, so don't let them get behind you. Especially since they have a much longer aggression range than other zombies. They're the dead rails equivalent to creepers. Just use guns. You'll save yourself a lot of trouble if you just use guns. If you're fast, you can kill and immediately store one, which will effectively defuse the dynamite. And it won't explode when you unstore the zombie, I think. Don't bother reanimating them either, as their dynamite can still kill you. The chances of you finding one early are low, but never zero. And if you don't have a gun, well, then good luck. Overall, 1 out of 10. I hate these things, and the only reason why they aren't a 0 is because their corpse makes a good flashlight. Sheriff zombies are just as rare as Ironclad zombies, but they have guns, so they actually pose a threat. They have a black cowboy hat, a sheriff uniform, and a 6-shooter revolver. They have 100 health, 8 walk speed, and do 30 damage if they hit a body shot, which can be higher if you get shot in the head. Their aim sucks, but if they do manage to land just a few good shots, your run is over. I feel like this is obvious, but don't charge headfirst with a melee weapon. You will be turned into a statistic. Just like Dynamite Zombies, if you encounter one of these very early into the game, you're probably dead. The best thing you can do is enter the train cabin and kill them using any melee weapon you have. To make things worse, they have an above average aggression range, so you could be running to your train at night and get used as target practice. My best tip is to just run in zigzags. 3 out of 10. I like their outfit and that's the only props they're getting from me. Zombie soldiers are only found at the Fort Constitution. Ominous music starts playing, and they will spawn in from 3 barracks. Just in case you thought it was going to be easy, there are 2 variants that can spawn in, one with revolvers and the other with swords. You can tell the difference because the ones wearing a khaki colored soldier outfit will have a navy revolver or a cavalry sword, while the ones in a blue shirt will have either a firearm or just use their hands. Zombie soldiers have 100 health, 16 to 25 walk speed, and deal 15 to 45 damage depending on the weapon. If this is your first time playing and you unsuspectingly walk into the Fort Constitution, you need to make sure you have some Robux to spare. The only zombie at this fort that actually matters is Captain Prescott, but we'll talk about him later. Once you think you've killed all the zombies in the fort, more will spawn outside the fort, and they will be riding in horses in an attempt to catch you off guard. The best advice I could give you is to just come prepared. Get a lot of bandages because you're gonna need them, and melee weapons are terrible here, since you can get brutally mauled by a large group of them. Since you are going to use ranged weapons, make sure to aim for the legs or the head, because their gun can and will deflect the bullets due to their hitbox. Negative 10 out of 10, because they burned a hole in my wallet during my first time playing, and they can come back as butcher zombies. Captain Prescott, like the zombie soldiers, is only found at Fort Constitution. He had a military cap, a black mistake, and he wields a cavalry sword. On February 6, 1898, he received a telegraph from Washington that said he and his men were going to have shipments of Agent 15 in barrels, with orders to hold on to them until a carrier picks them up and delivers them to the USS Maine. 10 days later, he received another telegraph, this time ordering him to burn all prior telegraphs about Agent 15 and the USS Maine. I guess Captain Prescott wasn't too happy about having anything to do with a bioweapon, so he ignored it. Either that, or he and his men were already infected. Either way, his silence caused him to have a bounty placed on his head a day later, and he and his men eventually turned into zombies. The bounty is pretty high too, being $150. Despite being the most wanted and having a big role to play in the lore, his stats are pretty boring. He has 100 health, 16 walk speed, and deals 30 damage. Upon killing him, he drops a key with the supply depot, which has a cannon ammo, and some bonds. Captain Prescott is most likely based on William Prescott because they have the same last name, and that makes sense, and William Prescott fought in the Battle of Bunker Hill, which probably means something, but I don't know. I'm not completely caught up on the lore yet. All the guns and ammo you get from the fort and the $150 bounty you get from killing Captain Prescott almost make the Robux debt worth it. Almost. Same ranking as the zombie soldiers, not because of the difficulty, but because he's really underwhelming. The Scientist Zombie. Fun fact, these guys were a lot harder to deal with because my first time doing this was during a blood moon. Scientist zombies are just reskinned runner zombies. They have the exact same stats, the only difference is they have lab coats because scientists. They only spawn at the Tesla lab after pulling the lever to summon Nikola Tesla. After pulling the lever, the night turns stormy, and these guys will start spawning in and outside the Tesla lab one by one. It's best to just stay in the room where you pull the lever because you can kill them as they run towards you. I didn't know this, as I was too busy thinking Tesla was gonna wake up and third party me while I was fighting vampires and scientists at the same time. The Scientist Zombies are past workers who worked under Nikola Tesla and helped him develop the bioweapon Agent 15. But of course, that didn't work as planned. They were also supposed to bring Tesla back in peak condition, but I guess they just decided not to do anything until the players showed up and stuck Tesla's jar head on a random werewolf's body. 0 out of 10 ranking because they're just runner zombies, and I blame them for the blood moon. Vampires are just reskinned normal zombies right now. They only spawn when it's a blood moon and in the castle. They have pale skin, jet black hair, a sleek all black tuxedo, a scarlet pendant around their neck, and a sinister elegance. They used to be very annoying. Why? Because they broke all laws of physics and would just teleport behind you every few seconds. No bad transformation or anything, they just spawn behind you while attacking you. Or at least they used to, until they got hit with the biggest bug of all time, effectively making them useless. I was gonna reference sinners since vampires can't teleport into houses, but I can't because now they don't teleport at all. They have 150 health, deal 15 damage, and 16 walk speed. The teleporting may have been annoying, but at least it was their defining trait. Now vampires are just normal zombies with a little more health. 0 out of 10 until the bug gets fixed. Werewolves run on pure malice and muscle power. They're like 10 feet tall and easily the strongest entity in the game besides Tesla and the Easter Bunny. They have 500 health, 25 walk speed, and 40 damage. all for a sell value of $20, which is pretty good if you manage to survive. They can be seen during full moons, and like 1,000 of them spawn at the castle. The last place they can be seen is in wolf packs along the desert, where they have a 10% chance of replacing a wolf. So technically this means you could see one really early into the game. If so, leave and try again next round. I don't understand why they're so strong. I've never seen any other werewolf have muscle capacity compared to the Hulk. Despite their stats and appearance, they aren't as hard to kill as you'd think. You just need to get on a horse and shoot them with a shotgun as many times as you need to. They also can't climb up the train for some reason, and I hope it stays that way. Werewolves aren't even part of the lore, they're just here to torture people. They have the best wayfinding AI in the game, meaning they won't just run into walls, most of the time. 10 out of 10 because they lead to a lot of funny moments, though points will be deducted if I start seeing them in my dreams. Skeleton. At least vampires have 50 more health than normal zombies. Skeletons are actually just complete reskins. They can be found in the Sterling mines, which I always forgot even existed. Technically there's one on Unicorn Island too, but he's just lying on a bed chilling. Skeletons have a miner helmet and a pickaxe. That's it. Skeletons are so similar to normal zombies that they literally have the same sound effects. Negative 100 out of 10 because they're the only entity that could be replaced and nothing would change. At least Ironclad Zombies had some resistance with their armor. Wolf. Wolves are animals, duh, that spawn in wolf packs along the desert in groups of 2 to 5. As mentioned before, they have a 10% chance to take insane steroids and turn into werewolves. They have 100 health, 20 walk speed, and deal 15 damage. Wolves are the smallest entities in the game, so they can't climb the train. They can, however, be tamed, and the taming process is the most family-friendly thing of all time. You simply drag corpses over to the wolf and let it feed on the corpse until it is tamed. After doing this a couple of times, you could have an army of 10 wolves in your sack, ready to be released whenever the time is right. Pause. Getting an army of wolves can be very useful for overwhelming enemies, including Tesla, until he strikes them all with lightning. 6 out of 10 because they're useful but can still turn into their crash out counterparts. Horses are the strongest entities in the game because they're easily accessible and can outrun every hostile entity. They can be found in groups across the track and at the barn. The easiest way you can get a rideable one is by killing any outlaws or zombie soldiers on them. Alternatively, you could do it the hard way and get a horse stock long enough for you to put a saddle on it. Horses have a 1% chance to take insane steroids and turn into a unicorn, which I've never seen. Horse carts are also insanely useful and can be used if you feel like wanting to fly. Never mind, this was patched. Hostile entities will try to kill your horses because they're jealous of how much better it is. But be warned, harmful objects like barbed wire and weapons can also damage them. If you're like me and really unlucky, your horse might just get struck by lightning in broad daylight and instantly die even though there's no lightning rod near you. Horses are so overpowered that they have an entire limited time game mode based on them titled Horsing Around, where players would spawn as horses. 100 out of 10 because they're incredibly useful and have no crash out counterparts. Unicorns are just faster, rarer horses that can be sold. Like I mentioned previously, they have a 1% chance to replace any regular horse, which includes horses ridden by outlaws. They have 40 walk speed and they can be sold for $250 when alive and $150 when dead. So when you see one, immediately kidnap it. The walk speed makes unicorns the fastest entities in the game, but you should still sell them because money is more important than their feelings. Using the cowboy class can get you the unicorn by constantly rejoining until you spawn with one, but depending on your luck, you could be stuck doing that 200 times. 75 out of 10 because it has a lot of good perks, but hard to find and my luck is terrible. Outlaws suck. There's an active zombie apocalypse going on and their first thought is to shoot at whoever they see, zombies included. They can spawn in groups of up to 7 across the desert or at Outlaws Town and Outlaw camps. Outlaws Town is just one big ambush before you go across the bridge. 10 outlaws on foot will come out and use their terrible aim to start mindlessly shooting at you. Outlaws can have 3 different weapons: revolvers, sawed-off shotguns, and rifles. Hard to tell which variant is which when they're all shooting at you. They have 100 health, 8 walk speed on foot, and 30 on horseback, deal 30 to 100 damage depending on the gun, and a bounty of $35. The easiest way to kill outlaws is just to snipe them from a far distance, preferably with a bolt action rifle. If they're on a horseback, whatever you do, don't kill the horses. The horses didn't do anything wrong. Friendly outlaws are apparently a thing. This is the first time I'm hearing about this, and it's probably because I would never even think about reviving them. 3 out of 10 because outlaws are just annoying, and they have the Blackbeard logo on their backs and their flag, and it isn't the one from One Piece. Soldiers are friendly entities that only spawn in fortified. They will always either be seen carrying bolt action rifles on foot, shooting at any hostile entities that get close, or on the wall of fortified towns, operating Maxim guns with the same goal. The ones in a khaki colored uniform use bolt action rifles, and the ones wearing blue shorts operate the Maxim guns. They have 100 health, 8 walk speed, and their damage depends on the weapon, but it doesn't matter because they'll never damage you. These guys are your best friends. They can take down any hostile entity, including werewolves, which at that point is just a free money farm. Unfortunately, they aren't invincible and can be killed, but personally I've never seen all of them die before. So as long as you yourself aren't killing them, and you aren't literally standing still watching everything happen, you'll be fine. If you do kill them, then you deserve whatever bad luck the game gives you. You can't even drag or store their corpse or do literally anything with it. You just killed them for the love of the game. They're so friendly that they won't even fight back if you start shooting at them. 10 out of 10 because they're friendly and they kill all werewolves for you, as long as you help them do it. Jarbrain Werewolf Man is the final boss of Dead Rails. His real name is Nikola Tesla, and he's named after a famous Serbian-American engineer and futurist in the Austrian Empire. On August 6, 1895, Tesla received a telegram from Washington, D.C., telling him that he would receive the funds to develop a bioweapon for the military within a year. It was supposed to mimic the effects of yellow fever. He completed his prototype ahead of schedule, and the military sent another telegraph on January 2, 1896, thanking him for completing it so fast. They then ordered 100 barrels of the latest prototype, which is now called Agent 15. But oh no, things go bad, and Tesla and all of his workers are exposed and become zombies. Who knew tampering with bioweapons was a bad idea? As a result, Tesla had his brain removed and put in a jar to survive. And before it was removed, he requested his brain be taken to the top scientist to rebuild him after things had calmed down. So, that didn't work out at all. Anyway, moving on from the lore, Tesla has 5,800 health, 20 walk speed, deals 100 damage, and he can be sold for $300. He would be the strongest entity in the game, but the Easter Bunny has more health than him. He attacks by using either his arms or spawning in Tesla coils that will kill anyone without armor instantly. Tesla can be spawned by going into the Tesla lab and placing 5 different werewolf limbs on a table and then his jar brain. There's a lever in a separate room, and pulling it after the body is built will spawn 35 scientist zombies over time. While you're fighting for your life, he'll just casually walk out, but he's so fast you won't see it happen. The best way to kill him, if you have Robux, is just to die and keep respawning since the lightning does a lot of damage. But if you don't have any to spare, just run him over a couple of times, though he'll be left with some health left. You could also kill him with a shovel, but you'll have to hit him 250 times. And by the time you pull this off, the bridge will have already been lowered. If you get a hold of the electrocutioner, he doesn't even become a boss anymore, as it kills him in only a few hits, despite him literally being brought to life by the exact same electricity. 5 out of 10 because he's a werewolf on steroids and with a jar brain. The Easter Bunny is a limited time boss that was only available during the Extravaganza event from April 18th to April 21st. He spawns at the end of the Extravaganza game mode when you turn the crank, and he's the largest entity in the game, being 3 times taller than Tesla. He has 10,000 health, deals 100 damage and 15 walk speed. This makes him by far the hardest entity to defeat in the game. Instead of throwing Tesla towers, he throws Easter eggs that hatch into other hostile enemies. Since he's slow, you can use 3 snake oils to run past him. And ranged weapons are the best weapons to use against him, not counting holy water of course. Just like Tesla, the electrocutioner can absolutely melt the Easter Bunny. Despite being the strongest entity in the game, he can only be sold for $20. 10 out of 10 because he's big and I like eggs. If you like this video, you will definitely like this video on screen. Comment below if you want to see more Dead Rails explained, or if you have any other Roblox topic you want to see covered next. Subscribe and see you soon.